Hanju attacked extremely quickly. The heaven-earth mystic yellow world-piercing sword finger had already slashed out before the other sages could react. The sword chi passed through the door of the universal hall and entered the dark forbidden zone with unstoppable force. The invisible wall of the heavenly Tao in this direction had been destroyed earlier, so there was no obstruction this time. Sword chi swept through the chaos. It would directly kill the Tao ancestor. In the supreme pillar of light, the Tao ancestor had yet to walk out. His aura soared crazily. A sword chi shot out from the heavenly Tao and drowned him. The supreme pillar of light was severed and the space twisted violently. The scene was illusory and blurry. A section of the supreme pillar of light had already been severed after the sword chi dissipated, and the Tao ancestor no longer existed. In the universal hall, Hanju's expression didn't change as he stared at the pillar of light that fell from the supreme rule. The other sages were the same. The dilapidated void was not far from the heavenly Tao. Ordinary heavenly Tao sages could also see it. The sages secretly heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing Hanju kill the Tao ancestor. At this moment, the figure of the Tao ancestor condensed in the supreme pillar of light again. Hanju used the heaven-earth mystic yellow world-piercing sword finger to kill the Tao ancestor again. Soon, the Tao ancestor continued to revive. Hanju also attacked and repeated this hundreds of times. The sages looked at Hanju with strange expressions. They would have panicked long ago if it were them. However, Hanju actually enjoyed it and even smiled. The reason Hanju persisted was that he could feel that the supreme pillar of light was weakening. It would dissipate sooner or later if this continued. That's all you've got? Hanju secretly felt disdain. He continued. After 1,000 times, the supreme pillar of light shattered and the Tao ancestor finally disappeared. Peace returned. The universal hall was silent. All the sages did not dare to let their guard down. He had rejoiced too early. In the mysterious space, the evil heavenly emperor asked, "Senior, is it over?" The mysterious giant shadow replied, "I'm not sure. It depends on if the other party still has a backup plan. I have to say, this child..." He didn't say the rest, but the evil heavenly emperor understood. Cough cough, this kid's determination is indeed extraordinary, the evil heavenly emperor said awkwardly, his heart filled with pride. What was this? It seemed dishonest, but this was a life and death battle. Could it be that he had to wait for the enemy to fight in their peak state? The evil heavenly emperor asked, "Is the previous Tao ancestor his main body?" Of course not. The heavenly Tao ancestor is indeed powerful. If not for him being unable to let go of the heavenly Tao, he would have long transcended. The mysterious giant shadow's words caused the evil heavenly emperor to ponder. After a while, a top-notch existence among supreme existences. The evil heavenly emperor asked, "What about Hanju?" The mysterious giant shadow was silent. In the universal hall, Pan Xian smiled upon seeing that there was no movement for a long time. "Is it over?" The other sages didn't reply but looked at Hanju. Hanju asked in his mind, "Has the heavenly Tao calamity ended?" 1 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No! I knew it! Hanju narrowed his eyes and continued to ask in his mind, who will attack the heavenly Tao next? 1 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. 2,000 divine authority generals. Hanju showed a frown. Doubled? Can I insta-kill 20,000 divine authority generals? 2 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Yes. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. That was good. After all, Hanju could defeat 10,000 foolish sword sages. They were now the Great Tao Supreme. The foolish sword sage claimed that he could fight 100 divine authority generals. In other words, Hanju should be able to fight 1,000,000 divine authority generals. Cough cough. It sounded ridiculous, but it was the truth. Although Hanju was cautious, he still had a clear understanding of his strength. Since he wanted 20,000 divine authority generals, so be it. He had to kill the primordial ancestor god and the chaotic deities to give up on eradicating the heavenly Tao. Hanju said, "It's not over yet, but I'll let them end it." His tone was light, but it was domineering. The sage's blood boiled. Choshilai praised him. The heavenly Tao has the divine might heavenly sage. It's not inferior to any supreme existence in the chaos. It's the heavenly Tao's fortune. Pan Xian cursed silently. This fellow was too fast at flattery. Su Dudao suddenly knelt down and exclaimed, "Divine might heavenly sage's merit is immeasurable." The sages of the hidden sect immediately knelt down and praised Hanju. The other sages had no choice but to kneel down. Pan Xian was the same. He secretly glared at Su Dudao. This fellow was too wise. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du had no choice but to bow again. Loud and had a strange expression. Hanju frowned. "Don't do this. The calamity isn't over." "Yes, yes, yes." The sages stood up. Hanju was secretly pleased and glanced at Su Dudao. This child had a good future. They were also enslaved by the primordial heavenly prison. This was the nature of the other sages. They were not as hypocritical as Su Dudao. But who did not like to be praised? It was the same for sages. At this moment, another pillar of light descended from the supreme rules above the 3,000 Great Tao. This time, divine authority generals had already condensed before the supreme pillar of light reached the heavenly Tao. In an instant, 20,000 divine authority generals successfully condensed. Their auras were vast as they rushed towards the heavenly Tao. Too fast. It went straight to the heavenly Tao. This scene reminded Hanju of the drop of water thrown by the Holy Mother of Order in the past. This beam of light contained the power of a great Tao Supreme. The primordial ancestor god had attacked. However, he did not appear. He probably wanted to break through the heavenly Tao. Ridiculous. Hanju's eyes narrowed. The Dharma idol of the heavenly constellation Fiend Celestial condensed above the peak of the heavenly Tao. His figure was domineering and his face was sinister. He leaned back and pulled the bow. His right fist struck from below. This punch contained the ferocious power of the heavenly constellation Great Tao. Hanju was already a Great Tao Supreme. Thus, his Dharma idol was also a Great Tao Supreme. Roar! The heavenly constellation Fiend Celestial's roar was isolated by the heavenly Tao, but the sages could hear it. They were shocked. Compared to Hanju's previous strike, the Fiend Celestial Dharma idol's posture could show Hanju's power more clearly. With a punch, his aura surged into the chaos. The two supreme powers collided in the darkness. The strong light that burst out tore through the darkness. The heavenly Tao was not affected. Hanju used his own strength to negate the primordial ancestor god's power. The heavenly Tao did not shatter, but the 20,000 divine authority generals followed closely behind with an aggressive aura. In the Universal Hall, the sages all looked up and saw 20,000 divine authority generals attacking. All of them were 10 million feet tall, as if the chaotic sky had collapsed. Hanju also looked up and summoned the primordial judgment sword again. The sages were uneasy. Young Che asked carefully, "Has the number of divine authority generals increased?" The Divine Authority General's aura was too strong. His sage sense burned the moment it touched them. He was so frightened that he hurriedly retracted it. There are indeed more. Not only more, but they also doubled. Why is this happening? Is there no end to it? Who is manipulating the Divine Authority Generals? Why must you destroy my heavenly Tao? Discover new Tories at Nvubin. Co. The sages were indignant. At this moment, they had already forgotten their fear and worry, and only felt endless worry. They couldn't help but look at Lao Dan. Lao Dan sensed their anger and said awkwardly, "Why are you looking at me?" "How would I know?" Hanju ignored them. He fused with the 1949 Fiend Celestial Dharma idols again and was already prepared. He raised the primordial judgment sword and pointed the tip at the top of the universal hall. Hanju suddenly used the heaven-earth mystic yellow world piercing sword finger when the distance was right. Boom! Sword Chi soared into the sky and shattered it, then quickly rushed out of the heavenly Tao. Under Hanju's deliberate control, the sword Chi didn't hurt the heavenly Tao's foundation and quickly rushed into the darkness. Just like before. Absolute speed. The 20,000 Divine Authority Generals were still diving down. They were drowned by the sword Chi just as they saw it. This speed had already surpassed the definition of speed and time. The Divine Authority Generals were all destroyed. It was still a sword. The vast pressure of the 20,000 Divine Authority Generals instantly vanished. The sages were not as surprised as before. They were only happy. Hanju felt uneasy. How could that be? With a thought, his will instantly jumped out of the chaos. He looked down at the chaos and said, 10,000 Divine Authority Generals are not enough for me to kill with a single strike. 20,000 is still not enough. Will you send 100,000 next? 1,000,000? Or 10 million? His voice spread throughout the chaos. He did it on purpose. Other than the heavenly Tao life forms, all the living beings in the chaos could hear his voice. For a time, the entire chaos fell into an uproar. Countless living beings were curious about who the voice belonged to. The cultivators who had surpassed the primordial chaos Tao fruit were shocked. They all knew that the Divine Authority was about to attack the heavenly Tao, but from Hanju's words, 10,000 Divine Authority Generals had already been destroyed? No! 20,000 Divine Authority Generals were killed by a mysterious mighty figure of the heavenly Tao? Impossible! In the Universal Hall, the sages cheered when they heard what Hanju said. Even the usually low-profile heavenly venerate Xian Du was the same. He clenched his fists and shouted, "That's how it should be! Force out the mysterious existence hiding behind them. What's with this behavior? After 10,000, there will be 20,000. Is this still a rule? Can the rules change at any time? Besides, what's wrong with the heavenly Tao?" Actually, the sages could not understand either. Why did the Divine Authority Generals want to clean up the chaotic Fiend Celestials? Who didn't know that the chaotic Fiend Celestials were born after the birth of the chaos? They were equivalent to chaos children, and the great Tao Divine Spirits were only the rules of the chaos. The rules wanted to kill the family's children? It was unreasonable. It didn't make sense. Lao Dan looked at Hanju and sighed slightly. He didn't understand what the other party was thinking. These words expressed disdain for the Divine Authority and also offended the existence behind it. It was not pleasing. Why fall out with them? It was understandable for them to fall out with each other at the same cultivation level, but how could they survive in the chaos in the future if they fell out with the existence who controlled the supreme rules? Hanju waited patiently. Hanju would be convinced if the number of Divine Authority Generals continued to increase until he couldn't defeat them. You can destroy the heavenly Tao if you want. Taking revenge could also fulfill the heavenly Tao's last wish. Hanju was already prepared for the worst. At this moment, a cold voice sounded in Hanju's mind. You're the primordial fiend celestial? Hanju could sense that the other party was a great Tao Supreme. He immediately searched for the other party's voice and sent a voice transmission. I'm a chaotic fiend celestial. But go ahead if you want to call me the primordial fiend celestial. In any case, the heavenly Tao is innocent and justice is in the hearts of the people. You can destroy the heavenly Tao, but you can't destroy everyone's ambitions. The other party did not reply. Hanju immediately sat down upon seeing that the divine authority generals did not appear again. Seeing this, the other sages also sat down. The entire universal hall fell silent for a time. The sages stared at Hanju. They all understood the consequences of his words, but they didn't blame him and chose to trust him. They believed that Hanju could support them. At this moment, the mysterious voice sounded in Hanju's mind again. How can a chaotic fiend celestial kill 20,000 divine authority generals? Even Pangu can't do it. Why can't I? Then, why can you control the divine authority generals? I can't deduce your background. I don't know who you are, either. You'll be a threat to the chaos if you are a primordial fiend celestial. Perhaps I might be wrong, but would you let go of a possibility if it were you? Hanju faced the other party confidently. However, he did not say anything overboard. He actually already knew who the other party was. It was the primordial ancestral god. He wanted to pretend not to know and act aggrieved to make the other party let down his guard. Then, he would personally kill the primordial ancestor god one day. He couldn't be spared with 6-star hatred points. After a long while, the other party still did not answer. The divine authority generals did not appear again. Everything returned to normal. It was as if the calamity had passed. However, the sages didn't dare to let their guard down. They were all waiting for Hanju's answer. The mysterious voice sounded in Hanju's mind again. I will no longer target the heavenly Tao as long as you can prove that you are not the primordial fiend celestial. How can I prove it? Enter the supreme rules and be sealed by them until the great Tao immeasurable calamity ends. You can sacrifice your freedom in exchange for the heavenly Tao's peace. Hanju smiled when he heard this. He almost wanted to take out the Book of Misfortune, but he couldn't use it now. The chaotic fiend celestials cared more about the dark forbidden lord than the primordial fiend celestial. Sacrificing himself for the heavenly Tao? Impossible! Hanju wasn't that kind of person. Hanju didn't receive another reply. He was already prepared to face 100,000 divine authority generals. They had to fight even if it was a dead end. In any case, he had a wisp of will in the Tao field and was not afraid of death. Hanju cursed in his heart. What was Pangu doing? He had said that he only needed to block 10,000 divine authority generals. Why was there no end to it? A line of words appeared in front of him just as Hanju thought of Pangu. Pangu sent you a dream. Do you accept? Accept! Hanju entered the dream. At the same time, he retained half of his will in his body in case the divine authority generals attacked again. In the dream, Hanju saw Pangu. 1. You sacrifice yourself and let the supreme rules suppress you in exchange for peace. 2. You fight the divine spirit's leader, the heavenly Tao, and you can both be protected if you win. Hanju didn't answer. Pangu waited patiently. Pangu said, the one who truly controls the supreme rules is an existence that surpasses the great Tao. Even I can't say his name or spread his appearance. The heavenly Tao will really perish if he makes a move. Hanju showed a frown. He was a little disappointed in Pangu. From the looks of it, Pangu was not the chaotic consciousness's match. He was at a disadvantage in the negotiations. Hanju said, "You have to start now if you want to challenge the Divine Spirit's leader." Although he could fight 10,000 foolish sword sages, he might not be able to defeat the primordial ancestor god. The primordial ancestor god was in existence with a perfected great Tao and was the leader of the divine spirits. His cultivation was definitely powerful. "I'll try my best to help you," Pangu said in a low voice. Hanju tacitly agreed. After a while, Pangu said, "I can at most help you stall for 10 million years. 10 million years later, you will fight alone with the leader of the divine spirits. The supreme rules will no longer target the heavenly Tao if you win. But if you lose..." Hanju pretended to be troubled. "Only 10 million years?" Pangu sighed. "Your growth speed is too fast. 10 million years is already the limit. A billion years would not be a problem if it were anyone else. The leader of the divine spirits takes 100 million years every time he enters seclusion. It's enough to show how afraid he is of you." Hanju also sighed. "All right. That's settled." With that said, the dream shattered. Hanju didn't tell the sages about this immediately but continued to wait. The divine authority generals didn't appear again, and the primordial ancestor god didn't send any more messages to Hanju. Everything was calm. After a long while, Pan Xian asked carefully, "It's over? It's been so long." The other sages stared at him. Hanju asked in his mind, "Has this heavenly Tao calamity ended? 1 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue?" "Continue. It's over for the time being." Hanju secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Pangu had indeed succeeded in negotiating. He looked at the sages and said, "It's over for the time being. I will fight the leader of the divine spirits and resolve the karma for this calamity in 10 million years. Before that, the development of the heavenly Tao will continue as usual. I'll leave everything to you." With that, Hanju returned to the 100-peak Immortal River. Cheers erupted in the Universal Hall. The words "Divine Might Heavenly Sage" could be heard the most. The mysterious domain was filled with fog. The evil Heavenly Emperor looked at the illusion in front of him. Not seeing the divine authority generals again, he couldn't help but ask, "Is this calamity over?" He suppressed his excitement and did not dare to look at the mysterious figure. The mysterious giant shadow replied, "It's over for the time being. 10 million years later, Hanju needs to fight the leader of the divine spirits. The heavenly Tao will survive if he wins, but the heavenly Tao will be destroyed if he loses." 10 million years? The evil heavenly emperor was secretly puzzled. Was the leader of the divine spirits so arrogant? Pangu made a move and set a 10 million year agreement. However, this is also a way to give the supreme rules a way out. The divine authority generals are indeed not Hanju's match. It's not good for the leader of the divine spirits to appear personally, the mysterious giant shadow said faintly. The evil heavenly emperor asked, "What if Hanju agrees but doesn't accept the challenge 10 million years later?" The mysterious giant shadow said, "He will definitely accept the challenge. He has no choice but to accept." These words confused the evil heavenly emperor even more. He hurriedly asked, but the mysterious giant shadow no longer replied. "You should leave." The mysterious figure's voice was illusory. The evil heavenly emperor bowed and left. He had just taken a few steps when the mysterious giant shadow's voice floated over, "Evil heavenly emperor, don't forget your own fate." The evil heavenly emperor did not look back and vanished. All 10,000 divine authority generals collapsed near the heavenly Tao after the heavenly Tao calamity ended. The name of the divine might heavenly sage shook the entire chaos. Even countless cultivators in the heavenly Tao were discussing this. Gradually, the news spread throughout the immortal world. The divine might heavenly sage became a legend that all living beings worshipped. Buddhist world. The sacred true martial Buddha faced Chpter and remained silent for a long time. Chpter asked, "How's my grandmaster?" Sacred true martial Buddha said, "Invincible." He looked calm, but his heart was in turmoil. That was the 10,000 divine authority generals who had slaughtered the chaotic fiend celestials. They were actually killed by Hanju with a single strike. They didn't even touch the edge of the heavenly Tao. It was unbelievable. The sacred true martial Buddha had lived for so long, but this was the first time he was so shocked. He also felt indescribable reverence for Hanju. Joining the heavenly Tao might be a huge opportunity. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. He finally smiled. In the crimson sky of the endless sea, a shining figure stood on the Holy Mother of Order's shoulder. This child will definitely be stronger 10 million years later. Are you confident? The Holy Mother of Order asked. The figure of light snorted. So what if I give him 10 million years? His potential is powerful and can reach the Great Tao Supreme Realm. Do you think it's possible for him to catch up to me in 10 million years? The reason we set this agreement is because the Divine Authority Generals can't do anything to the Heavenly Tao. 20,000 is already the limit. I even paid a considerable price. I naturally have to take it since Pango gave me a way out. The Holy Mother of Order asked, "How will you make him accept the challenge 10 million years later?" The figure of light said, "Watch carefully. He'll accept the challenge." The chaotic fiend celestials have almost all been eliminated. Only a few are left. A new person with great providence will appear in order to promote the great Tao immeasurable calamity. I'll create momentum for the divine might heavenly sage and make him unable to cultivate in peace for 10 million years. As for the day of the final battle, I have already calculated it. He has to fight. He'll also die in misery. Outside the 33rd heaven, Universal Hall. The sages were still gathered here. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du had already asked Lao Dan to avoid suspicion and leave. The sages of the hidden sect also left when they saw this, leaving only the Heavenly Tao sages. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du scanned the sages and slowly said, "Everyone, the Heavenly Tao calamity is not over. You should have heard what fellow Taoist Han said about the 10 million years agreement. Next, we have to help fellow Taoist Han strengthen the Heavenly Tao. This battle has already proved that the leader of the Divine Spirits is behind the Divine Authority Generals. We can't just sit and wait for death. We have to be prepared. We can't always rely on fellow Taoist Han." The sages nodded. Although they didn't attack in this battle, it greatly increased the Heavenly Tao's cohesion. Their Tao hearts were still excited and couldn't calm down after witnessing Hanju kill 20,000 Divine Authority Generals with a single strike. That's right. In any case, the Heavenly Tao never relies on the chaos. Who cares about the Great Tao Divine Spirits? They only know how to play tricks behind our back. The Divine Authority Generals caused the chaos to panic. We can deliberately exaggerate and say that the Divine Authority General is a power controlled by the Great Tao Divine Spirits. The Great Tao Divine Spirits are reckless. Previously, it was the chaotic fiend celestials. Other mighty figures will definitely suffer in the future. We can think of a way to set up the Great Tao Divine Spirits as a chaotic danger. I think it's feasible. In addition, we have to publicize the Divine Might Heavenly Sage's power. His divine might protects the Heavenly Tao and is invincible. How about that? The sages began to discuss. This time, Heavenly Venerate Xian Du did not directly set a plan and let all the sages participate. He seemed to see the rise of the Heavenly Tao. The strongest was the leader of the Divine Spirits. Hanju was not the strongest, but he was still the second in the chaos. Moreover, why would the leader of the divine spirits set a time limit of 10 million years if he could really defeat Hanju? The more heavenly venerate Xiandu thought about it, the more excited he became, and his reverence for Hanju deepened. He made up his mind to follow Hanju forever. Inside the Taoist temple, Hanju sat on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus as he recalled the process of this battle and reviewed his words and actions. He had already disguised himself as a reckless person who did not care about the heavenly Tao's survival. It was unknown if the primordial ancestor god and the chaotic consciousness believed him. No matter what, 10 million years was a buffer. Hanju's strength would definitely reach a new level 10 million years later. However, Pango was involved. How could the leader of the divine spirits wait for 10 million years? It was impossible no matter how arrogant he was. After all, Hanju had already displayed his strength. The primordial ancestor god still had 6-star hatred towards him. He had to find a chance to curse this fellow. But it couldn't be now. It would easily expose his identity. He could start cursing him in a million years. Hanju thought silently. He had to strengthen the Book of Misfortune if the Heavenly Tao Spirit Stone appeared again in the future. As it became stronger, he believed that as long as the Book of Misfortune was strong enough, it could ignore all obstacles one day. Hanju started the simulation trial. He challenged 100,000 Great Tao Supreme Realm Foolish Sword Sage. After a simulation trial, he calmed down a lot. Realizing his weakness and limits, his anxious heart calmed down. Thus, he began to cultivate with a calm heart. He still had to cultivate diligently after the glory. Everything was deceptive, but cultivation was not. He could change everything as long as he worked hard. In the dark universe, countless meteors were everywhere. Figures sat on a meteor. Among them were Li Daokong, Ancestor Shitian, and Shi Dao. Ancestor Shitian slowly opened his eyes and said, "The divine authority is about to be destroyed. We have survived the calamity." Hearing this, all the lives opened their eyes. The Life faction had been leaderless ever since the first Life Black Sovereign's death. They had also encountered the Divine Authority Generals and had no choice but to hide. All of them felt uneasy and even despair. They couldn't escape the identity of the Calamity Life Controller. Some Life members were already killed by the Divine Authority Generals. How could they be a match for 10,000 Divine Authority Generals? They could only hide. Li Daokong looked at Ancestor Shitian with flickering eyes. He had already learned about the battle situation of the Heavenly Tao from the Myriad Worlds projection and was extremely excited. "Go on, start bragging," Li Daokong thought silently. Ancestor Shitian said, 10,000 Divine Authority Generals attacked the Heavenly Tao and were killed by the Heavenly Tao's Divine Might Heavenly Sage. You should have heard the previous voice. It's not arrogance. Not only did the Divine Might Heavenly Sage kill 10,000 Divine Authority Generals, but another 20,000 Divine Authority Generals were also killed by the Divine Might Heavenly Sage with a single strike. Boom! Dozens of lives became excited and even stood up, trembling. Really? Such a person actually appeared in the Heavenly Tao. It's said that the Divine Might Heavenly Sage also killed a great Tao Divine Spirit when it attacked the Heavenly Tao. This Divine Might Heavenly Sage is too impressive, just like Pango in the past. Not only that, Pango was killed by the Divine Authority Generals when he revived. The Divine Might Heavenly Sage has long surpassed Pango and became a legend. Aren't the Divine Authority Generals under the chaotic rule? The Divine Might Heavenly Sage can already ignore the chaotic rule? Dozens of lives were extremely excited and praised Hanju. Although they didn't know the Divine Might Heavenly Sage, him destroying the Divine Authority Generals was equivalent to saving them. They were naturally happy. Speaking of which, the Divine Might Heavenly Sage also had a grudge with life, but it had nothing to do with them. Ancestor Shi Tian said, "The Divine Authority Generals are gone, but we still have to be careful. I will make plans. It's time to develop the life faction again. As for the Divine Might Heavenly Sage, from today onwards, I will treat this as a favor from the Heavenly Tao. Try not to offend him in the future. We're not the evil existences the great Tao Divine Spirits make us out to be. We just want to overturn the unbearable and rotten rules of the chaos." Dozens of lives nodded. Li Daokong smiled. Shi Dudao also smiled. As expected of the Dark Forbidden Lord. How powerful. He has both identities. His methods are also impressive, Shi Dudao thought in admiration. Li Daokong glanced at him and asked, "What are you laughing at? Are you so afraid of death? Then, why are you smiling?" "The Divine Might Heavenly Sage is my sect master. Of course, I'm proud." "Hee hee, you've already betrayed the hidden sect. What's there to be proud of?" "I had no choice." Shi Dudao couldn't be bothered to talk to Li Daokong. "The Dark Forbidden Lord acknowledges my potential the most." Li Daokong thought that he was on the second level, while he was higher. He had long seen that Li Daokong was a spy of the Divine Might Heavenly Sage, but Li Daokong did not know his relationship with the Dark Forbidden Lord. What did this mean? This meant that in the Dark Forbidden Lord's eyes, he was the trusted aide. Li Daokong was only the most ordinary pawn. Ancestor Shi Tian said, "Prepare to leave. Since the life faction is leaderless, we will regain control of it. The chaos has also quietened down now that all the chaotic fiend celestials have perished. This is life's chance. The Heavenly Tao would be the strongest force in the chaos as long as the Divine Might Heavenly Sage was around." At the same time, the chaotic living beings' gazes landed on the Heavenly Tao. As time passed, if the Heavenly Tao did not encounter any more attacks from the chaotic rule, a large number of cultivators would join the Heavenly Tao. A place that could guard against the chaotic rule. Wasn't this a holy land? Just like that, year after year passed. 100,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. Inside the Taoist temple, Hanju opened his eyes and smiled in satisfaction. His cultivation level increased again. The primordial world expanded by nearly twice. However, he felt that something was missing. He felt that the primordial world was too empty. He should produce living beings himself. Although the nebulous primordial chi was endless and could reproduce chaotic fiend celestials, it had yet to truly create a chaotic fiend celestial alone. Hanju thought for a moment. He lacked the power of creation. The power of creation was the strongest rule among the 7 supreme rules. It could create everything. Creation was the most important among the 7 great rules. Hanju looked up above the 3,000 great Tao. The mighty creation rule was so mysterious and noble. It was fascinating. Hanju's heart almost sank just looking at it for a while. There was a production fiend celestial. He had previously tried to fuse the great Tao of production into the primordial world, but it was quickly drowned by the nebulous primordial chi, and a living being could not be created. Creation and production seemed to be similar, but they were extremely different. Hanju's heart skipped a beat. Who created the chaos? Hanju asked in his mind. 100 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So expensive? Even the Tao creator had only cost a quadrillion years. 100 times his value? He immediately chose to continue. 9th Chaos, Cultivation Unknown. Spirit of the primordial chaos, creator of the chaos. It cannot be named and is not affected by any rules. The primordial chaos once gave birth to 9 primordial spirits. The first 8 failed. The ninth chaos successfully created the chaos. The number 9 became the extreme number of the chaos, containing special meaning. There were living beings in the primordial world? Wasn't there only the primordial fiend celestial? Or am I thinking too much? Hanju only saw the notification in front of him, but the figure of ninth chaos didn't appear in his mind. He didn't know if this fellow was still alive. Can the ninth chaos reach the creation dominator realm? Hanju asked in his mind. Above the Tao creator was the creation dominator realm. He had asked before. There was no such existence, but some time had passed. Perhaps there had been a change. 100 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No. That was good. At the same time, this also proved that the ninth chaos was still alive. Hanju suddenly had an idea. Could it be that the chaotic deities did not dare to personally interfere in the chaos because of the ninth chaos existence? Hanju asked in his mind, is the ninth chaos restricting the chaotic deities' interference? 100 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Yes. That made sense. Hanju suddenly felt more secure. Is there anyone stronger than the ninth chaos? 100 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. Hanju smiled. The peak finally appeared. I'll be at the peak when I reach the Creator Lord realm. At that time, he could roam freely with no fear. I can do whatever I want. Whoever dares to offend me will be killed without consideration for their backing. Hanju was filled with anticipation. Your disciple Tao Sovereign was attacked by an inauspicious evil, X899220003. Your disciple Zhao Shenyuan was attacked by an inauspicious evil, X7909833211. Your good friend Loudon was attacked by an inauspicious evil, X900283924. Your good friend Jiang Yi was attacked by an inauspicious evil, X800879326. Your grand disciple Chushuren spread the Buddhist Tao and his providence increased. Your good friend Evil Heavenly Emperor created an inauspicious deity. His providence has declined. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked, X572. Your son Han Tuo received guidance from a mysterious mighty figure. It was lively again. Why are you following these three? Hanju smiled. He liked Loudon even more now. The last time in the Universal Hall, Loudon had kept a low profile. He had not thought of escaping even when the Divine Authority Generals attacked. He was quite pleasing to the eye. He also knew Loudon's goal. He wanted Tao Sovereign and the other two's potential. Hanju turned a blind eye to this. On the path of cultivation, most of them had masters, benefactors, Tao bearers, and so on. Hanju was not afraid that Tao Sovereign and the other two would be poached. He was letting them grow on their own. Hanju continued reading. The disciples who had returned had gone out again. However, the Buddhist world, the Great Tao Tower, and the Red Fate world were still near the Heavenly Tao. They already had the Heavenly Tao's providence. They would fuse into the Heavenly Tao sooner or later. Hanju sent a dream to Huang Zuantian after reading the emails. It had been too long since they had contacted each other. He had to show concern lest Huang Zuantian change his mind or suffer. The dream was in front of the 18 peaks of the Jade Pure Sect. Huang Zuantian opened his eyes and hurriedly bowed when he saw that it was Hanju. Master, you're too powerful. That was 10,000 Divine Authority Generals, equivalent to 10,000 Great Tao Sages. It's said that 20,000 Divine Authority Generals appeared later. This matter has already spread like wildfire in the chaos. You're already the strongest chaotic fiend celestial. There are even rumors that you're the strongest in the chaos. Huang Zuntian said excitedly. The strongest in the chaos. Hanju was secretly pleased. He remained calm and said, I had no choice. How have you been? Do you need my help? Hanju listened carefully. Huang Zuntian's story was indeed legendary. Hanju felt that it was much more exciting than his. He went from a captive to someone in charge of the life faction, and he even inherited the Providence mystical power of the Calamity Life Controller.